Have you ever wondered why the universe sends you someone who resonates so deeply within you, yet keeps them just beyond your reach? It's one of those quiet contradictions of life. Meeting someone who effortlessly unlocks parts of you that no one else ever could, only to gently slip away when you least expect it. We're often taught that love is about holding on, but maybe the deepest connections aren't meant to be held at all. Maybe they arrive quietly, not to settle permanently into our lives, but to softly wake us up, to stir feelings that have long been dormant, or remind us of truths we've carefully buried. Sometimes a person enters your world not to become your home, but to lead you closer to discovering the home within yourself. What if the real purpose of meeting them wasn't permanence, but clarity? What if they stepped into your life simply to illuminate something you needed to see, something subtle, deep within you, quietly waiting for the right moment to be revealed? Carl Jung spoke of this as synchronicity, moments in life that feel meaningful and intentional, guided by some unseen hand. Perhaps meeting them wasn't random at all, but a gentle nudge from the universe, carefully arranged to lead you towards something deeply important about yourself. Pause for just a moment, take one gentle breath. Often, the truths we've needed most find us not through force, but softly in moments exactly like this. Sometimes the most powerful connections we experience aren't meant to last. It seems counterintuitive, doesn't it? We're taught to cherish love, to hold on tightly to those who move us deeply, believing that permanence is the ultimate proof of authenticity. Yet, certain encounters defy this logic entirely. They arrive softly, unexpectedly, brief yet profoundly transformative. Like lightning illuminating a dark sky, their presence may be fleeting, but in that brief flash, something fundamental is revealed. Think back, just for a moment. Have you ever experienced a connection that lasted only briefly, maybe days, weeks, or even mere moments, but left an imprint so deep it still echoes quietly within you today? Perhaps in those short-lived encounters, you discovered layers of yourself you'd forgotten existed. Dreams, feelings, and truths, long tucked away, carefully hidden beneath the comfortable routines of everyday life. You didn't expect their arrival, didn't prepare for their departure, yet the impact remains undeniable, quietly shaping you from within. And that's precisely the point. Not everyone you meet is intended to become a permanent fixture in your life. Some people appear not to join your journey indefinitely, but to ignite a quiet revolution inside you, to wake you up from the unconscious slumber you'd comfortably settled into. They're messengers of awakening, catalysts of growth who gently push you to face parts of yourself you might otherwise avoid. Think of it as a seed quietly lying dormant beneath the soil, waiting patiently for the right conditions to sprout. Maybe that person you can't quite hold on to entered your life at precisely the moment when conditions were just right, when your inner soil was fertile, waiting for something to emerge. Did they awaken something essential in you, something quietly powerful that you'd long forgotten existed? Perhaps their brief presence was exactly the nourishment your soul required to grow into a fuller, deeper version of yourself. But there's pain in this too, isn't there? Losing someone who profoundly touches your heart can feel overwhelming, confusing, even unfair. And yet, what if that pain isn't punishment, but an essential part of your becoming? Grief, loss, and longing can be like a clear mirror, held gently before you, reflecting back parts of yourself you've never dared to examine closely. Maybe their absence is precisely that mirror, quietly illuminating the shadows you've avoided, showing you the unhealed wounds that still linger, the fears you've hidden away, the truths you've been afraid to face. Have you ever stopped to consider that the ache you're feeling is not a cruel twist of fate, but the exact condition necessary to discover who you truly are? grief can teach us things joy cannot. It strips away our defenses, leaving us vulnerable and open to profound self-understanding. Losing someone you deeply connected with might not be life's cruel joke, but rather an invitation to finally meet yourself, raw, honest, and entirely authentic. Often we view love as a final destination, a place we arrive at and remain forever. But perhaps the love that awakens us most profoundly isn't about arriving at all. Instead, it's a doorway, quietly opening into hidden spaces within us, revealing inner landscapes we've never fully explored. Like a door that softly swings open, it invites us inward, toward truths we've ignored or forgotten. Yet once we've stepped through, that same door might gently close behind us, leaving us changed, evolved, and quietly transformed. Are you willing to pass through that doorway, even knowing it might close behind you? Are you brave enough to embrace the uncertainty beyond, to allow love to become not a possession you cling to, but a quiet passage leading you deeper into yourself? Sometimes, love's greatest purpose isn't permanence, but revelation. Not a lasting bond, but a profound inner awakening. This awakening often means confronting uncomfortable truths. The person who quietly entered your life and then slipped away might not have consciously intended to, but perhaps they mirrored something deep within you. Carl Jung referred to this subtle yet powerful phenomenon as projection and shadow work. Without realizing it, we often project our deepest fears, desires, and insecurities onto others. We see in them the qualities we struggle to acknowledge within ourselves, those parts we keep quietly hidden even from our own awareness. Think carefully. What truth about yourself did their presence silently reveal? Did they unknowingly reflect your hidden fears back to you, like a quiet echo bouncing back from the depths of your own inner landscape? Perhaps you recognize through them the insecurities you've always carried, the patterns of self-doubt you've perpetuated, or even the dreams you've abandoned along the way. They were not just another person, they were a gentle mirror reflecting precisely what you've needed to see, even if it's been difficult to face directly. Facing these reflections isn't easy, of course. It can feel vulnerable, unsettling, even painful. But within this discomfort lies immense potential. The fears, wounds, and insecurities you discover through this gentle mirroring aren't flaws to hide away again. They're invitations for healing, integration, and growth. The parts of yourself reflected in them are precisely the parts you've quietly needed to embrace in order to evolve into the fullest expression of who you truly are. Perhaps now, in this moment of quiet reflection, you can gently begin to understand the profound nature of this seemingly fleeting connection. It wasn't random. It wasn't meaningless. It was intentional, subtle, yes, but quietly transformative. It was synchronicity, arranged by the universe to guide you precisely where you've always needed to go, deeply inward. Take a gentle breath here. Consider the quiet power of this realization. The relationship you couldn't hold on to wasn't a mistake, a failure, or even an unfulfilled promise. It was exactly what it needed to be. A catalyst, an invitation, a subtle yet powerful awakening. And now, your journey continues, quietly guided not by loss, but by newfound clarity and deeper self-awareness. Can you trust, even in the midst of the ache, that something essential has been set into motion within you? Something quietly powerful. Something that will continue to grow and transform you long after the immediate pain fades. The love you lost may have left quietly, but what remains, what you discovered about yourself, can never be taken away. It stays, softly guiding you, becoming the foundation upon which you rebuild, reconnect, and rediscover the beautiful depth of your own soul. Maybe the deepest, most courageous act of love isn't found in holding on tighter, but in allowing yourself to gently release your grip, precisely when it feels unbearable to let go. It's easy to believe that the measure of love lies in permanence, in our willingness to stay, to endure, to hold firmly no matter how much it hurts. But the universe often moves with a different wisdom, quietly teaching us that true love sometimes appears in the subtle courage to open our hands and let go precisely when we fear losing the most. You stand now upon a fragile bridge, suspended carefully between two worlds. On one side are the expectations placed upon you by others, all those quiet demands you've internalized, shaping your identity to fit someone else's vision of who you're supposed to be. On the other side waits something entirely different, your own deepest truths, dreams, and longings you've quietly pushed aside for too long. The bridge beneath your feet is thin, delicate, trembling gently with every heartbeat, every careful breath you take. You've been standing here longer than you ever planned, paralyzed not by indecision but by fear. Fear of stepping forward and fear of looking back. Yet, maybe this uncertain space was never meant to become your permanent home. Maybe it was always meant to be crossed. It's here on this delicate bridge that you first encountered someone who touched your life in ways that words scarcely describe. Their presence felt like quiet magic, brief, powerful, and utterly transformative. They ignited feelings you never knew existed within you, uncovering emotions long buried beneath your careful composure. But as swiftly and profoundly as they arrived, they drifted away again, leaving you standing quietly in their wake, grappling with confusion and a silent sense of loss. It's a paradoxical ache, how someone who appeared so briefly could leave such a lasting echo, quietly resonating through the hidden corners of your heart. And yet, what if their fleeting presence wasn't a cruel mistake, but a deliberate gift? What if they weren't sent into your life to stay, but to quietly awaken something inside you? Something vital, something genuine, something you'd almost forgotten was possible? Perhaps the universe doesn't always deliver the love we crave most desperately. Instead, it brings us precisely the love we need, the kind that shakes us gently awake, guiding us softly but firmly toward a deeper, truer version of ourselves. Reflect carefully on the quiet ache of their absence. Could it be that this very ache is not an obstacle, but a mirror? A clear, gentle reflection of everything you've quietly hidden away within yourself? Their absence shines a gentle yet unyielding light upon the parts of you that you've never fully acknowledged. Their departure, though painful, may be precisely the clarity you've been silently seeking. In losing them, you might finally discover pieces of yourself that have long needed your own attention. Think of love not as the final destination, but as a quiet doorway opening inward, a doorway leading directly toward the innermost truths you've kept carefully hidden. Once you step through this door, it closes softly behind you, not as punishment, but to gently encourage you forward, deeper into yourself. Love, in its purest form, invites us inward, to explore hidden spaces, forgotten dreams, and the subtle truths we've been afraid to admit. It's not meant to be held, contained, or captured. It's meant to transform, awaken, and guide us home to ourselves. The person who quietly stepped into and out of your life may have unknowingly served as a mirror to your own hidden wounds, fears, and desires, echoing back all the truths you've struggled to confront alone. This gentle mirroring, though uncomfortable, holds profound potential for healing. They showed you parts of yourself you'd rather not see. Your vulnerability, your fears of abandonment, the wounds you've quietly carried since childhood. Perhaps their role wasn't to heal you directly, but simply to illuminate what still requires healing within you. In their gentle reflection, they invited you to meet yourself fully, without pretense, without masks, without hesitation. What quiet truths about yourself did they reveal? Was it your hidden fear of never truly being enough? The subtle anxiety of rejection you've carried quietly beneath the surface for years, or perhaps the profound longing to live more authentically, freed from the weight of external expectations. Whatever truths they softly reflected back, the realization was never meant to condemn you. Rather, it was meant to awaken you, to gently guide you toward integration, acceptance, and ultimately, wholeness. Now, standing here on this delicate bridge, the question becomes clearer, quieter, yet more insistent. If today, in this very moment, you finally stopped holding on to them, what would you discover about yourself? If you gently released your grip, allowing their memory to quietly drift from your heart without resistance, would you find that long-sought freedom? Could this quiet release finally offer the authentic sense of self you've secretly yearned for? Letting go isn't an act of surrender or weakness. It's a profound act of quiet bravery, acknowledging that some connections, no matter how deep, weren't meant to become permanent. Instead, they're sent gently by the universe, brief messengers tasked with the quiet duty of awakening us. They appear briefly, powerfully, to softly illuminate our inner truths, guiding us back toward ourselves before quietly departing. Take a quiet breath now and consider carefully the gentle truth of this insight. Perhaps today, more than ever, you're finally brave enough to step forward across that delicate bridge. Perhaps you're ready to let their memory drift softly away, not with resentment, bitterness, or regret, but with quiet gratitude. Gratitude for the powerful, brief presence they offered. Gratitude for the truths they softly awakened within you. Gratitude for the gentle nudge toward authenticity they've unknowingly provided. In quietly releasing them, perhaps you'll discover the profound freedom you've always longed for. The gentle freedom of finally embracing yourself, authentically and unapologetically, for the very first time. You aren't selfish or wrong for protecting your inner peace. Maybe after all this quiet struggling, today is finally the day you gently let go of the illusions you've carried, the expectations, the stories, the quiet compromises, and instead choose to embrace the truth of who you genuinely are. Perhaps this is your moment, the subtle turning point you've quietly waited for, where authenticity becomes more valuable than approval, where your own quiet truth speaks louder than anyone else's expectations. Take a moment now, just a gentle pause, to reflect on this simple yet powerful choice you've made. Ask yourself, what would it feel like to truly, quietly let go of something you've held on to far too long? If this resonated deeply with you, I invite you to share a piece of your own quiet journey in the comments below. Maybe just name one thing you've finally decided you're no longer willing to hold on to. One quiet burden you're ready to release. And if you're feeling ready, if something inside you has quietly stirred and you're curious to explore more deeply, perhaps another story here is gently waiting to meet you exactly where you are. Sometimes the message you most need is the one that finds you quietly, unexpectedly, in a moment like this. Stay just a bit longer, because often the stories that speak most profoundly to our souls aren't the ones we seek deliberately. They find us softly in moments we least expect, quietly guiding us back to ourselves.